Welcome to today's video. I'm going to be showing you some comparisons between older and newer versions of some Clionadh stained glass collection shades that have come out over the last couple of years. I believe the first new versions to have come out were Glazers Mark and Chill, Emboss, Sunbeam, Kaleidoscope, and most recently Opulent. And Opulent actually might be the most different because they couldn't get the same pigment anymore. And this is one of my favorite shades from the stained glass collection. I think it's such a fun, neutral leaning, everyday, but still very beautiful and dimensional, shifty shade. I did purchase most of these and I received the new versions of Chill and Glazers Mark in PR, but I did buy all the original glitter Multichromes. I did purchase the new versions and I do have an affiliate code with Clionadh, which I'll put up on the screen in case you're interested. And thank you so much if you do use my code. And there will be a rolling restock this Friday, March 15th at 3 p.m. Eastern time. So they will be restocking some more shades from their lineup and I will put them in the description box. So let's get into the comparisons. And these are all part of their glitter formula. So they have a few different formulas and this one is essentially supposed to be the most sparkly, and it's got a little bit more texture than from most of their other formulas that they have. Though their newest edition of the Dimensionals, those have even more texture than these, and there is no glitter in these. The formula is just called glitter because they are so extra sparkly. So here is Chill, and at the top is always going to be the older version, and then below it is the new version. Chill is a semi-pigmented sky blue base with large glitter particle that shifts gold, green, blue. You can see that it is definitely not only shiftier, but it is a bit more opaque, and it also is a little bit more of a true blue versus original Chill, which is much lighter. But I do think that the straight on yellow flash is a little bit more prominent in the original Chill. Next up is Glazers Mark. And for sure, the original just swatches a little bit patchy, but you can see it is just a little bit uneven. Glazers Mark has a sheer orange base with medium glitter particles that shift indigo, violet, pink, orange, and it is still very sparkly and shiny. It is still a beautiful shade, but the new and improved version for sure, the shift is a little bit different. It's a little bit more vibrant, and then it is definitely more opaque, has lots of sparkle, lots of shine. I do think the orange base is a bit less apparent in the newer version. Next up, Emboss. It has a semi-permanent salmon base with medium glitter particles that shift lime, turquoise, blue. Now, I definitely think the salmon base is a little bit darker in the newer version, and also definitely a different particle size because the original is just way smoother. I think the newer version is definitely an improved version, but that also depends on what you prefer. I still love the smoothness of the original Emboss. Onto Sunbeam. This one has a sheer baby pink base with medium glitter particles that shift yellow aqua with hints of peach and pale green. And definitely the newer version has a much more vibrant base to it, and it is for sure a lot shinier. It doesn't feel as dry and almost a little bit looser pressed, which was one of the reasons I wasn't really a huge fan of the original Sunbeam. I felt like it didn't really belong in the glitter Multichromes because it felt so dry. I think the new version is definitely much more improved, but again, if you prefer a look more of the original and you already have that one and you're happy with it, then that's totally up to you if you wanted to buy the newer version. But I really do love the newer version. I do think that the colors are pretty spot on, but the base is a bit more vibrant in the newer version. Kaleidoscope has a semi-sheer pink base with small medium glitter particle that shifts lime, turquoise, and blue pink. And the original of this one, like the previous shade, was never really my favorite because again, it was super smooth but almost very dry and powdery to the touch, and it still was pigmented, but definitely just the texture didn't feel on par with the rest of the glitter Multichrome. So I'm happy to see this one in an updated version that I think is much more on par, and just based on the newer version so far, they have a bit more base pigment to them and they are just a little bit more opaque. I do think you could probably shear some of these out a little bit. Purple shift is more vibrant, and I also think straight on it's a little bit more green flashing than the original. And lastly is Opulent, which is described as having a warm purple brown base, almost rose gold, with medium glitter particles that shift orange, gold, green, turquoise. And it is just a little bit more purpley, and the shift I think is more contrasty in the original Opulent, so I think it's a little bit more obvious, the shift. And I think it's a little bit softer in the newer version, but the newer version I feel like is maybe a little bit more sparkly and just a little bit more textured, but I do think that the shade really holds up. Like I mentioned, Opulent is one of my favorite shades. It is such a great neutral but still fun kind of multichrome shade, and it's very unique, so I'm glad that they were able to keep it in the collection with some slight changes. So those are all the newer and older versions swatched. I do believe that there is one iridescent multichrome that also has been updated, and I will be purchasing that one during the restock, so I will probably just post that as a shorts video or on my IG stories. So I hope this video was helpful. I also want to mention that most of these are between almost like $10 and $14, so these are not the most expensive multichromes from their lineup. I think a lot of people always just assume that all of Clionadh shades are $20, but they do have some of these shades that are just really beautiful, really punchy, really sparkly, but they are less than $10 or up to $14, which Opulent is the most expensive out of all of these, but the rest of the shades are actually under $10. So that's everything for this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and don't forget to give it a thumbs up, and thank you so much for watching. I hope to see you next time.